You block a launch punishable move. You know it's your turn, so you go for the punish. Instead, they press, counter hit. You sit there thinking, why would they do that? A few seconds later, they throw out a random launcher in neutral. It shouldn't work, but it does. Now, you're frustrated, not because it was unbeatable, but because it was supposed to not happen. That's one of the biggest hidden traps in Tekken. You stopped reacting to what your opponent was actually doing and started just reacting to what you expected them to do. The strongest players don't lose because their opponents play strangely. They lose when they refuse to accept that strange is exactly how this match is being played. Welcome back to How Winners Think. Every Tekken player has an idea of how a match should unfold. Unsafe moves should be punished. Pressure should end when it's negative. Players should stop pressing after they have lost their turn. And if everyone played directly, those expectations would often be correct. But ranked isn't played by perfect players. It's played by people, humans. As well as that, people panic, humans mash, humans gamble, people make decisions that really just don't make sense. And sometimes those decisions work. Today, we're exploring why expectations quietly lose matches, why unusual opponents are often the hardest to beat, and why elite competitors stop asking the questions to themselves, such as, why would they do that? And start asking themselves, now that they've done it, what's my answer? Because the match in front of you will always matter more than the match you expected to play. Alright, every player carries around an invisible rulebook without actually realizing it. You have created expectations. They won't press here. Nobody would throw out that move. They are minus. They will respect my turn. You see, the problem is your opponent has never read your rulebook. They've played their game. Now you're playing yours. And every time reality doesn't match your expectations, frustration appears. Not because your opponent broke the rules, but because they broke rules that only existed in your mind. Think back to some of the strangest opponents that you have faced. Random hotkicks, unsafe launchers, buttons after minus frames. At first, it looks chaotic. Then something surprising happens. You lose. Why? Because you spent more time judging their decisions rather than adapting to them. One of the biggest mistakes competitive players make is confusing unusual with ineffective. Just because something shouldn't work doesn't mean it isn't working against you. The question isn't, is this normal/optimal? The question is, can I stop it? Those are completely different conversations. One of the hardest lessons in competition is this: reality does not care what is supposed to happen. Imagine someone uses the same unsafe string 5 times. You punish it 0 times. Who's making the mistake here? Them or you? It's easy to complain about bad decisions. It's much harder to punish them consistently. You see, elite players understand something very important. If an opponent keeps repeating a mistake and it keeps succeeding, it isn't their mistake anymore, it's yours. Not because the move became good, but because you never gave them a reason to stop using that move. The moment something unusual happens, most players become emotional. That's so random. Why would they do that? This player makes no sense. Elite competitors ask a different question. Interesting. Why is this working? Notice the difference. One mindset creates frustration. The other creates information. Curiosity allows and slows your emotions down. It gives your brain room to learn. because every strange decision is an opportunity, not to complain, but to understand. Tekken theory is valuable. Frame data matters. Punishes matters. Knowledge matters. But theory should guide your decisions, not replace your observation. Imagine your opponent never respects minus frames. Then stop expecting respect. Imagine they always challenge after heat. Then prepare for it. Imagine they constantly sidestep. Then track them. Your opponent is constantly teaching you how they want to play. The question is, are you listening, or are you waiting for them to finally behave the way that you expect them to behave? Every ranked match is different. Some players are disciplined, some are reckless, some are patient, some never just stop pressing. Your job isn't to force everyone into your version of Tekken. Your job is to solve the puzzle standing in front of you. Acceptance, though, isn't giving up, it's just clarity. The faster that you accept reality, the faster you really stop wasting energy fighting things that have already happened. That's when adaptation becomes possible. During your next ranked session, every time your opponent does something that makes you actually think that makes no sense, pause. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, if it's so bad, why did it just work? Don't search for something or someone to blame. Search for something to learn. That one question can completely, honestly, just change how you approach difficult opponents. The strongest competitors do not expect perfect opponents. They actually just expect opportunities. They don't become frustrated when someone breaks the rules. They actually just become curious. Because reality is always giving you some information to learn from, whether you actually like it or not. You can argue with it, or you can learn from it. Only one of those actually makes you stronger from those decisions. If you remember one thing from this video, remember this: do not fight the game that you are expecting. Fight the game that's actually happening. The next time someone does something that feels completely ridiculous, do not roll your eyes. Don't even complain. Don't say that shouldn't work. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, now that I know they are willing to do this, what's my next answer? Or what's my approach to getting this answer? Because champions don't waste time wishing their opponents played differently. They learn to beat the players in front of them. This has been how winners think. Until next time, the best competitors don't expect reality to change. They actually just change it themselves. Think first.